Hey guys, Kim here of YugaTech, and like always, the mid-range smartphone segment is on some serious fire right now, with so many good options from pretty much all the usual suspects. Xiaomi's latest entry to the battle royale is the Mi A2, their second Android One device after the Mi A1. It's packing powerful mid-range specs and very promising cameras. So let's see if it's enough to shake things up. When we first got our hands on this phone at the launch event in Madrid, you can watch that video here. The design was the first thing that stood out. Both the actual look of the device and the build quality are above average. For looks, it's like a phone from what we can now call the pre-notch era. This means thicker top and bottom bezels, fairly thin side bezels, and no glass on the back. It's not exactly a blast from the past, as we even have a very prominent camera bump at the back, enough to give the iPhone X a run for its money. Jeez, it's so wobbly. It's also got sleek curves on the side, so the phone feels pretty good in the hand. It's very smooth, grip is comfortable, but some of you guys might find it big if you have small hands like me. The components are also very nicely placed. The fingerprint scanner sits in a comfortable spot at the back of the phone, which has a smooth matte aluminum finish. The volume and power buttons are at a nice height too, whether you hold the phone in the middle or towards the bottom. Down below, we are very happy to see USB Type-C port. That, by the way, supports Quick Charge 3.0. Beside it are the down-firing speaker and main mic. What we aren't happy to see is the SIM card tray doesn't have a micro SD slot. A lot of other mid-range phones have one, with some even having a dedicated slot in a triple card setup. Now let's address something that makes this phone look unique. It's a Xiaomi phone, yes. But where's the familiar MIUI at? Well, it's not home. The Mi A2 is an Android One device, which means we do get that sweet stock Android look and experience. But more about the experience later. So up front is a 5.99-inch Full HD Plus LTPS display, with a call speaker, notification LED, and front camera above it. 1080p is a good enough resolution to satisfy the needs of most users, so there's no need to worry about that. The screen is sharp and vibrant with colors that pop out. It's bright enough for outdoor use and definitely big enough to enjoy watching videos or playing games. Since the phone runs Android stock, we don't get any built-in display tuning software like we see with other phones. But we have an adaptive brightness setting and night light, which is a feature that filters out the blue light at a set time of day. Just like most mid-range phones, the phone only has a single down-firing speaker for audio. It is quite loud and can somewhat fill up a small but quiet room. About headphones though, yeah, the Mi A2 doesn't have an audio jack, but Xiaomi was nice enough to include an adapter in the box. Back to the speaker, there is a good amount of highs and mids. Lows are present but not strong. It's decent enough for hands-free calls, listening to music, watching videos, or gaming. Now on to our favorite part about this phone, the cameras. At the rear, it uses a dual setup with a 12-megapixel Sony IMX486 main sensor and a 20-megapixel Sony IMX376 for depth. There's also an LED flash. The front camera uses a 20-megapixel Sony IMX376 as well. So the camera app itself is one of the things that's truly Xiaomi, as we get the MIUI camera instead of the stock Android One. Features include handheld twilight mode, which is used for low-light photography. Then we have the usual suspects like HDR, panorama, portrait, beauty mode, and of course, manual for you perfectionists out there. So with the rear camera, first, autofocus is very fast and accurate. And when you click the shutter, you'll find that your pictures are very sharp and even small details in the distance are captured. Colors pop out and skin tones are pretty nice. Shots do tend to be a little bit too saturated for further editing, but hey, that means you can post them right away. This is Xiaomi's camera AI scene detection doing its work, making sure that your exposure and colors actually fit the scene you're shooting. With these two dark shots, you can see the dynamic range is a bit lacking, but low light performance is solid, especially with the handheld twilight mode and a steady hand. As for portrait mode, it actually works pretty decently when you have enough distance between the subject and background. The camera AI is able to separate even individual hairs from the background, and it actually post-processes the subject and background individually. Video is very nice as we can record in glorious 4K, guys. There is also some very smooth image stabilization going on here. You can also record time lapses and slow motion videos at 120 FPS. So for selfies, the camera uses the same 20 megapixel Sony IMX376 sensor that the secondary rear camera has. Selfie quality is good too, but not on the same level as the rear camera. Images are still quite sharp, but colors aren't exactly spot on, especially with skin tone. Since it's a Sony IMX376 sensor, we do get HDR capability, though it struggles a bit with scenes like this. Portrait mode selfies are pretty decent. We get nice bokeh as long as you're far enough from the background. Though, the face smoothening beauty effect is a little too aggressive for our taste and reminds us of some OPPO or Vivo phones. Alright guys, let's talk about the software. So again, this is an Android One phone, hence we get stock Android. As of right now, Mi A2 runs Android 8.1 Oreo. Aside from the Xiaomi camera app mentioned earlier, everything else is full vanilla Android. We're definitely not haters of MIUI, but it's nice that there's actually options now when it comes to Xiaomi phones. If you don't like MIUI, you now have the Mi A1, Mi A2, and Mi A2 Lite to choose from. The stock Android UI is both clean and functional. It's got those Google-style icons, and you get an app drawer if folders and lots of home screens isn't your thing. For now, you still navigate with the back, home, and recent buttons at the bottom, but when Android Pie hits you, you will get more gestures. We have a Snapdragon 660 chipset, 4 or 6 GB of RAM, and up to 128 GB of storage. More or less, this is the same setup as the Vivo X21 and Nokia 7 Plus. For this review, we use a model with 4 GB of RAM. The Snapdragon 660 is more than a year old now, but it's still a pretty good mid-range chip that has the performance and the efficiency. So everyday usage is no problem at all and is generally very smooth with an occasional animation hiccup. Getting around the phone, browsing the web, social media, taking photos, all goes smoothly, even multitasking. In our synthetic benchmarks, the Mi A2 scored well, getting over 131,000 points in Antutu. Though compared to the Vivo X21 and Nokia 7 Plus, it lags behind a little bit. This might be because of it having 4 GB of RAM instead of 6. But hey, that doesn't mean it performs badly anyway. Here's the rest of the benchmark results. It can handle light to moderate games with ease, no stuttering or frame drops. Heavier games will suffer from occasional frame drops at high settings, but still very playable. The back of the phone gets slightly warm during gaming sessions, but not so warm that it's uncomfortable. Now we get to battery, which is where the Mi A2 falls short. It's powered by a 3010 mAh non-removable lithium-ion pack. The included charger is a typical slow charger, but the phone does support Quick Charge 3.0. So with a fast charger, it gets from 0 to 100 in just over an hour. This is a pretty decent charging time, so we wish Xiaomi had just included a fast charger in the first place. Battery life is unimpressive and just average at best. In our standard video loop test, it lasted 12 hours and 31 minutes. And in the PC Markwork 2.0 battery test, it got a result of 7 hours and 44 minutes. Again, just average. But all in all guys, the Xiaomi Mi A2 is a great mid-range device that can almost match the performance of more expensive phones like the Vivo X21 and Nokia 7 Plus. It's not a mid-range pure performance powerhouse either. No, that little easily belongs to the Honor Play. Its brightest spot is really its cameras. We were very impressed by the images we were able to get and how easy it was to just take good shots and not do any extra editing. The design and build quality also get plus points from us because of how simple, sturdy, and sleek the phone is. Overall, we can really recommend this phone if you're looking for the best performance with the best battery life. But it's a great mid-range device for photography. If that's what you're looking for, then this is it. What do you think about the Xiaomi Mi A2? Please don't be shy, let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more videos, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified every time we upload. Again, this is Kim of YugaTech, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!